Michelle, have you reached out to Extension and Weed Board and let them know that we're running ahead of schedule?
No, we're gonna look at the cemetery real quick.
You can do these.
Yes.
I mean, nothing, and then we'll end up $500.
I didn't have any questions on that. Does anybody have any questions on the cemetery budget?
I am going to add a little bit there that
Okay.
I've talked a lot with Andrews,
Andrew Davison,
yes,
is he the one that's doing the mowing?
yes.
Okay.
And he has told me that he hopes to be on track at the end of the year. And I have put a lot of feelers out there, a lot of people, I've traveled to some cemeteries myself. Some of these cemeteries were not properly maintained in the last year or two, maybe 3 years. And he just wanted to, he told me what was going on. I told him I'd tell the council and the commissioners that it's hard for him to show up at a cemetery when there's trees, that he has to take a day and a half to cut trees out of the cemetery so he can properly mow and get the shrubs and the brush and everything. So he hopes to be on track next year to where all of these cemeteries will be properly maintained.
So who's doing the contract now? What's his name?
Andrew Davison.
Andrew Davison.
Yes. And I've had a few phone calls with some people that have called back and said this cemetery's in disarray, and I would make a call to John Mead. I did not want to talk to Andrew directly. I'd like that needed to come from John.
Yes.
And John would call him and he would say, yes, that's on the agenda.
Who is the board members now on the cemetery?
I don't know.
I know that John Mead is the one that typically comes to talk about it.
On the north, we used to be on Hill.
I think
Raymond Lee.
Raymond Lee's still on the board, I think.
Yeah, Raymond Lee and Aaron Woodward.
Because there's just a lot of the cemeteries
A lot.
that wasn't getting mowed.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think the contract is for all of them, is it?
These were the ones that are turned back over to the county.
Yeah, the ones that are contract.
Yeah.
These are on the road. Back my brother come down, went out to the old home place and come back and said, we as kids kept it better than, we're doing. I thought it must be a mistake. I drove out there.
I do want to add, just talking about cemeteries, we do have the genealogy lab that's in Salem. Those records for the cemetery records have not been updated for over 20 years. So if there are volunteers that are willing to spend their time to go out to mow these cemeteries or the ones that we don't have contracts on, that would be a really nice community project to think about doing. Somebody could go out there and take pictures of the gravestones, and that information can then be put into a book. But there's 20 years of gravestones that are not recorded in our genealogy lab. And so there's been a lot that's happened in that period of time, and I would just encourage you all to think about who might want to take on a project like that or who'd be interested, because if we could get that data, that helps people go back and find their ancestors. And
I can tell you who should do that right off the top of my head, the awareness. They're always wanting projects.
that's a great idea. Through doing genealogy research myself, I got to find that one of my ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War and has their name on a monument out in the front here. So it's just a really cool thing, I think, for people in our community to have access to. So let's bring that up with awareness.
Well, one other issue that he had brought up with me was there are 2 cemeteries that have a bunch of trees that are down. And I encouraged him to talk to the commissioners and or the attorney and the board to maybe see if they could help haul some of that away.
Excuse me just a minute. That is a township trustee.
Trustee issue. Okay. Well, I didn't know who to have him talk to, so I'll find it. I did at one time tell him to talk to the trustees,
Yeah.
but it was about a different issue.
And here's what you'll find, it's no different than anything else in this world, but you got some that'll go over and above the call duty to do their job, and others that won't do a whole lot, and it's luck of the draw. So they are responsible for anything major. Of course, we have a mowing contract, but when it comes to down trees, things like that, and fences, major things, then, and of course, gravestones, trustees are responsible for that. That's right. The problem is that our phone numbers are more easily obtainable than a cemetery board phone number.
Yes, we can go with the weed board next if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Thank you. All right, that's on page 24.